What's the meaning of life? The old religious answer was that the meaning of life consists in the obedience of God's commandments. Overreacting to this, existentialist philosophers said that life has no meaning. Nonetheless, we usually say that some persons lived very meaningful lives, while others lived lives without value, even execrable lives. We would say that the lives of great artists or great leaders were full of sense, while the life of a mad person in the asylum is meaningless. And even that the life of an enemy of humanity was something with a very negative value. It is this ordinary sense that I wish to rescue here. So we can approach the problem asking for the meaning of the expression, the meaning of life. How do you use this expression? We probably would say that the life of Abraham Lincoln was more meaningful than the life of George Bush. What do you mean with this? My utilitarian approximated answer is very easy. The meaning of a life, its value, is the amount of happiness or goodness that a person in the course of her life brings to the world, that is, to the greatest amount of human beings. This is not the same as the happiness that a person brings to herself alone. The playboy Porfirio Rubirosa, for example, brought happiness for himself, probably, but not much for the others, since he was probably a kind of social parasite. This is why his life was not very meaningful, except in the egocentric sense of being meaningful for himself. On the opposite side, the painter Van Gogh didn't brought much happiness for himself, since he had a disgraceful life which ended in suicide. But the amount of happiness or goodness in the form of beauty that he brought to the world was huge. This is why we say that his life was full of meaning. My definition allows for a positive and a negative meaning of life. People like Stalin or Hitler brought a greater amount of unhappiness to the world. Consequently, the meaning of their lives was very negative. That is, their lives had a negative value. One could argue that the consequences of Hitler's evil actions were a much better Europa. But I am speaking of wished consequences, intentioned consequences, and an Europa without totalitarianism was not the way he intended it to be.